It's getting kind of late. We should probably start the podcast. I'll call my brother.
Hey, should we start the podcast? It's getting kind of late. You should probably call Matt.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I'm gonna walk Jelly soon, so we gotta get this going.
You know, before we get this going, I think you should probably walk Jelly.
Welcome, bros, to the next episode of the podcast. I'm Kazi. Check out the tracksuit, bro.
I got the stripes.
Before we start, I need to issue a retraction. Kuya was right.
I haven't printed a retraction in 20 years.
Last episode, I said that Clint Barton was Ronan first, but actually it was Maya who
Mephisto.
was Ronan. Mephisto was Ronan. You're right. And then Kang became, and then Kang was no, but it was her. She was Ronan first, and then she got captured, and then Clint went to go save her in Japan, and he wore the Ronin outfit, and then from then on he was Ronin. But yeah,
dude, I saw that so them two weren't like the only ones to actually
There's been like
have the like Bullseye apparently wore it at one point.
Dude, I don't know anything about that.
Blade wore it at one point.
Blade?
Yeah.
Because he was trying to like hide from someone. So because Ronan's fully covered, he was just Ronin for a while.
It's like, we know it's you, Blade. You just said motherfucker 3 times.
He's pushing a cape.
Ronan doesn't even know Frost. Come on. You yelled it so many times.
All right. Yeah. So this last episode of Hawkeye, what was it called again?
It was called, God damn, that was a good episode.
That's what it was called.
That's what it was
Great
called.
Episode.
There was a lot going on, but I felt like the episode went so fast.
It was called like Echoes or something like that.
Yes, that's what it was. Yes. Echoes.
Yeah.
Dude, that Kingpin cameo, dude.
Man. But tell me why. So even at the beginning, we'll like recap it. But at the beginning, the Echo's dad was, like signing with Echo, and then for some reason I was just like, I kept turning up the volume. I was like, wait,
That's fucked up, man.
and then I was like, oh shit, duh. Stupid.
That's a little fucked up.
It's because he was signing, and then you know how they sign, they mumble a little bit.
Yeah.
You thought he was actually talking.
I was just like, what?
So your lips moving.
Turned on closed captions. It's like, finally.
Yeah. Oh, I love this episode. Okay. Do you want to just jump right into it? Do you have any other first impressions?
No, just that cameo had me from the start.
Yeah, that's so good.
So we kind of talked about Maya's background in the last episode, and it was great to see some of that come to life in this episode. But we jump right in, and it's a flashback of her growing up deaf. And so she's like in a regular school. It's not for like other people who also have that disability. And I think the teacher has an idea that she's like not hard of hearing, but like that she needs help. But it's hard. She
probably already knows. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to cater to all of those people, and also like all of the other kids, and also focus on her. But you can see her start to already be able to read lips a little bit, which is, it's heavy in the comics, right? That's like mostly how she gets by. So the teacher is trying to like get everyone's attention, and she like read her lips enough to see what exercise they're on and like working on it, whatever. And she was later talking to her dad, like, I thought you said you had enough money. I was gonna go to the deaf school, and he was like, I'm sorry, like it's not working out. It'll make
that, man. Sorry.
She was doing a Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible 3, dude. She was just like, Wanaka.
The teacher's like, Wanaka.
Sorry, keep going.
But the dad was saying something interesting, that's like the fact that you have to go to this school that's not meant for you is going to make you extra strong, because you'll like be able to adapt. And he called her a dragon, which just made me think of Shang-Chi, because
like,
dude, that was going to be one of my questions.
Yeah, she was like, you said like, do you think dragons are real? He was like, yes, but they're in a different dimension, and we saw that in Shang-Chi, that they really did exist. So yeah, he just keeps telling her to like keep at it, like you'll be stronger and overcome this. And you see her like already at a young age at a martial arts school, and she's like learning karate. He was like, oh, I have to go, but uncle will take you home. And you see that cameo where he's just touching her cheek. and it's a person in a suit, and we already know
You
that
just see
later-
the suit, yeah.
You can hear the laugh. He's like,
Yeah,
I'm like,
dude, that
yo,
laugh, I already
that's
knew.
either Kingpin or Seth Rogen.
Seth Green.
Someone just has to clear their throat.
Does she have to sign like "Aya" or like? Okay, never messed up joke, dude. Cut that out. Cut that out.
In the comics, did she really have
Prosthetic, she did not.
okay, that's what I was wondering.
Hmm.
So
I
at a
thought that
young
was an interesting choice also.
Do you guys think that like they talked about the dragon stuff? Like, do you think that was intentional? Do you think that's gonna somehow maybe they're gonna like team up Echo and
hoping so.
Shang-Chi or something?
Dude, that'd be so sick.
He even said that like it exists in a different dimension, and
Mhm.
like you
Yeah.
know we had just seen that. So I mean, who knows? I
True.
think-
Yeah, I know. And it came out like after the movie. So like
Yeah.
it's gotta be, Marvel, like
Things were-
there's always intention behind
Yep.
stuff.
That's
I was gonna say, do you know if the actress? I didn't really look her up. Does she have a prosthetic? Is that why they were like
I
working
don't
that
know.
in?
I have no
I'm not
idea.
sure.
Okay. Well, yeah. So it showed that Maya, as a young kid, had a prosthetic, is deaf, and knows sign language. And it seems like she has like a wholesome background until you see her later as an adult, like coming home and like seeing like the place of work for her dad getting all like messed up, and you see him in a tracksuit, and you're like, oh shoot, he's in the tracksuit mafia. And like all
Was
of
he
them
in
are-
it though?
Well, he looked like in this iteration.
He was definitely in the tracksuit.
But yeah, but that I don't know. He's not he doesn't seem like he would be part of like the tracksuit mafia in terms of like actually killing people and doing hits or like being part of an actual mafia. He just doesn't I didn't get that vibe.
I'm not sure how it went down.
I think he was a criminal in the comics.
He was. I
Okay.
think he was because Kingpin kills him in the comics, but then he asks
Yeah.
Kingpin, like as he's dying, take care of my daughter, and then
Yeah,
he.
yeah.
Which is weird because in the comics, Kingpin kills her father.
Well, yeah, that's the thing
Yeah.
is like so Kingpin kills her father, but he still listens to his dying words, like to take care of
Yeah.
her. So. Yeah, so I
I
think
think
they were
it-
like partners somehow, and in this iteration, maybe they just worked him in as like the leader of the tracksuit mafia because he had a red one instead of the
Mm-hmm. I
typical
think
black.
in the comics wasn't I mean correct me if I'm wrong,
Oh,
but
no, they
like
were red.
so Kingpin he's the one that actually sets up Daredevil to look like he's the one that killed Echo's dad, but then if it was Kingpin. But I think his intention was because he already knew that she had these like basic like these abilities, and so he already wanted to like use her
Okay.
as a weapon. Like
Oh,
I don't know.
okay, that would make sense. Sorry, I had it backwards. I forgot that the regular people were in red, and then like she was in black later, right, for the tracksuits.
I think so. It's like
Okay.
Kingpin, bro.
Watch my daughter.
Take care. Yeah.
It is interesting though because
Watch after this AAA chain.
in the comics, I think they're Native American, but then all of the people in the tracksuit mafia are like, bro.
That's also why I mean, if anybody can be part of a gang, but I mean,
yeah,
it
so-
seems like the Russians were like just the tracksuit mafia, not Native
Yeah.
Americans.
It sounded like they're from Tripoya. Marco.
Marco, yeah.
But yeah, so as an adult, she like it's late at night. She comes home, sees her father's work getting attacked, and it looks like Ronan is the one.
It's fucking up that AAA, dude.
Yeah. So, they did
Trying
do
to do
the-
smog checks, dude.
They did do that the part where like as the dad is dying, gets the imprint on her face, and that's like her first
Just like in
outfit
the,
in the comics.
yeah.
So it's bloody palm print. But yeah,
Later it becomes chalk. I think she
Yeah,
just
it's like
has her
white.
she has her ashy friend slap her every time she's about to go out.
Kevin Durant, dude. That fool's ashy.
but yeah, so already we're seeing kind of like diverting from the comic books where like he was a bad guy, but maybe not in the tracksuit, and then the dad died as she was a little bit older instead of like when she was really young and like impressionable. But
Oh, sorry, question. So when in the show, it shows Ronan killing the dad and stuff. do you guys think it's actually Clint, or
Oh,
you
yeah.
think it's?
I actually
Okay.
don't
Who
because
else would it be?
I don't
well,
think it
because
is.
how
dude.
did they get the Ronin suit? Like it was out of commission for a while, like just floating around. Like what if someone else, like someone under Kingpin's payroll got it and like kind of like how he made Daredevil look like he killed the dad, he like set up Ronin to be the killer.
I guess it depends on what the time frame was, but to me it seemed
True.
because Clinton was saying like he messed with the tracksuit mafia, so
Yeah.
he has history with them. Maybe he's, I don't know, maybe he didn't kill them, but he has a history with them, so he assumes that that's what they're hanging on to.
Yeah.
I don't know, could be, but who would you think it would be if it was someone else donning that suit?
There was a theory that it was actually
Kingpin.
mustache guy,
Oh,
but it was the Kingpin who
Hired
like
him.
so yeah, it was either the Kingpin that hired him,
Mhm.
or it was originally the mustache dude was Ronin, and then somehow Clint took it,
Oh.
meaning that in the auction in the first episode, he was actually getting his own sword, and it's not Clint's as Ronin.
oh
Okay.
shit,
Because
That's
he's
deep.
a swordsman, and like so
That's true.
that's a theory.
Hey, you know what? That might be it. I was hoping you'd say bullseye or something crazy like that.
I was thinking about that, but honestly, like that would be too much. But also, it's similar to what Kingpin did in the Netflix show. So like, there's that
Yep.
parallel too. Like, so it might be where the Kingpin hired someone to do to be that moniker for a little bit.
I'm gonna laugh if it's Seth Rogen.
I just
want
kept
it to be.
picturing Kingpin in the Ronin suit. Just,
Kingpin in the Ronin suit.
This fat ass
That'd be a
Ronin.
fat suit. Yeah,
Who could
dude.
it be?
That's 47 Ronin, dude.
you embarrassed me.
Just cooking eggs.
Yeah, so we go through all of that backstory and then it cuts to where we left off before, where both Kate and Clint are at the warehouse, and they're just like, killing time. He's trying to tell Kate she kind of messed up by like running in head first. But when Maya comes, she notices his hearing aid and she thinks that he
right
needs
away.
his hands to talk. So she cuts him loose so that he can sign, but he only knows the basics like, oh, hard of hearing, not actually deaf, more cookie, please. And she's like,
That's
didn't
funny.
appreciate his humor and like cuffed him to the back instead of the front. And during that whole interrogation, he was able to like cut himself free and distract them to get his bow back and like be able to buy Kate some time to break loose too. But that was cool.
Warehouse scene was,
Huh?
that warehouse scene was fire be flames. Dude.
Hella good,
Oh my
dude.
God,
So good. So many cool things happen. Like what was Clint doing? Like he did a backwards shot. Like he wasn't even looking.
Yeah.
He just did
That
that,
was sick.
and it shot the dude's hand, and it reminded me of when Cap threw that knife on the boat in
Oh,
his
yeah,
shoulder,
yeah.
and it like pinned him. But he wasn't
Yeah,
even
yeah.
looking. He just caught that motherfucker.
Yeah, he wasn't even looking.
Bro, it's like, dude.
He shot the arrow so that she could like break free.
Oh yeah. And then like he jumped, but did like a sideways like shot in midair, and then it slashed, I think, the guy's ear or like neck.
Yeah.
But then the intention was to cut off the tape. Like, dude, that was so good.
Yeah.
Then he was just playing in the ball pit, just like, yeah.
Oh, dude, that was hella funny.
But one thing we forgot to mention is during this fight, Echo breaks the hearing aid. So she keeps
Oh
saying,
yeah, right.
you're relying too much on technology, you'd be better off. And kind of like what her dad was saying is like, you would be stronger if you utilize both worlds. And you see Clint, like he's still kicking ass, but then he's really struggling not being able to hear and like hear where people are coming from and like trying to use his other senses in order to like shoot everyone and break them free. Eventually there's this huge car chase and he tells Kate like, this is the last of the regular arrows, so you have to use we actually finally see some of his trick arrows, which we didn't really see in the movies.
You do. Not as
A
tricky.
little bit.
Not
Not as tricky.
Yeah, not as not as many variations.
Yeah.
But like you see even like the smallest one with like the little suction cup has a purpose. So
Yeah. I wrote them down. The arrows
That was actually
that
that was a fleshlight arrow.
Ew.
Gets it onto his
No.
bro.
How?
bro.
The awesome powers of the penis pump, dude. He just shoots it off.
But yeah, so
that scene was like the chase scene was straight up from the comics too.
Oh, nice.
That
That
was
was a
pretty
great
cool.
scene.
Hella good.
this,
One shot too.
it was important to note that like even though he can't hear, he wanted Kate to drive, but she didn't know how. So we see her shooting skills, but also him trying to navigate the world. He lost a lot more of his hearing than we're led to believe in the beginning.
Wait, Vince, you
that's
said that
what's
was one.
different.
You said that was one shot.
Oh,
Car chase scene?
no, I think some of it was not the whole thing.
Okay, I was gonna say, dude.
Some of it was one shot, but also in the comics, it was reversed. Kate was driving, and then Hawkeye was the one shooting.
Oh, I liked it this way.
Yeah, this it was cooler. It worked better.
I think this also gave Hawkeye a chance to see more of her skills instead of like her amateurness, because even in the warehouse when they were fighting, he took most of the goons, but she fought like the second in charge, and she was holding her own pretty well. But you see,
She brought out that shopping cart, Jackie Chan style, dude. I thought she was gonna like jump through it, jump out,
yeah.
kick it, hit him. And that's our first Jackie Chan reference for this episode.
Vinny, did you want to run down all of the arrows?
Oh, sure. There was the putty arrow. I think that might have been one of the first ones that she shot. There's the putty arrow.
That shit shot Ivan Ooze out, dude. I'm like, they're gonna turn into Power Rangers.
There's a gas arrow that they shot in the car, I think, right? And there was
She's just like, it was
it's
the
a
arrow.
regular arrow.
It was the arrow, bro. Got him.
Stupid.
Oh man. There was the acid arrow, which is one that Clint used in Avengers at one point.
Did he?
Yeah, he like shot it at one of the Chitauri and then it disintegrated.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
There was a grappling hook one, which they eventually both do at the very end, which
That
is
was
cool too.
Which
because-
I noticed is it wasn't from an arrow; it shoots from the bow itself.
Yeah.
It shot from the bow itself, and he used the suction arrow to cling onto the subway car.
Yeah. It like the arrow
Oh,
attached to a part of the bow and it like released a string from the bow.
But in the Avengers movie, he needed an arrow to shoot the line. But in this one, I think it just shot from the bow itself.
Oh, I thought he shot an
I
arrow.
didn't even notice.
No, if you
that.
go back and watch it, the string's coming out of where the aiming hole is.
He did have one where the arrow had a string because that's what grabbed
Oh, it had multiple strings. Yeah. That one, right?
yeah.
one. Yeah. They straight killed some folks.
Oh yeah.
Those explosions.
They had the USB arrow, which hella funny. Like it shot the one of the tracksuit guys.
We saw
And the other
arrow
dude
in
was
What
like,
If.
"No!"
Yeah,
He hella panicked.
That's all funny. What did you say, Monica?
We did see the USB arrow in What If when we when,
Oh yeah, that's true.
Oh,
but it's funny because like throughout this scene he's like not this one, like making sure that Kate can't use the most dangerous ones, but it's interesting he knows just by like feel or like right on sight.
Oh yeah.
Is bad.
And the most dangerous one was the dopest one was when they're in the bridge and then he tells Kate to like just shoot up. She doesn't know what to do, but she's obviously listening to him and stuff like that. So she shoots it, and then Hawkeye, it does a close up. You see Pym on it, and then he shoots the arrow that's floating that Kate shot, and then it makes a big ass arrow, and then it just goes straight down on the car. That was sick.
that was so crazy, dude.
I like that
That's
because it
Should have just shot himself and became Giant Man and just tore shit up. Dude.
it kind of answered, like we know that Hank Pym is a genius and like already has his own tech and stuff, but it kind of fills the vacuum of like who's making technology for the Avengers while Tony Stark he passed away already. So it kind of fills that void.
I think he stole that shit from Scott. I don't think that was sanctioned.
I wonder if they have like if him and Scott still kind of like keep in touch or something like that, or if they like worked heavily together, because we didn't really see their scenes together other than in Civil War when he like picked up Scott.
Yeah.
But then like I don't know.
It's
maybe
possible. I mean,
Yeah.
we see in the Shang-Chi the post credits that they still have ways to like telecommute, talk to each other when something arises, so it's possible. one of the things I wanted to highlight, like throughout all this, especially when he lost his hearing aid, like Clint, for the most part, has only really relied on Natasha, like especially when they're fighting and stuff. So he actually has to rely on Kate, and he knows that, like, you know, she's a young one, and like her focus is on other things, and he just doesn't have the time for her because he just wants to be home with his family. But throughout the fight scene, like he's starting to rely more on her because he has to. So like when he was like, aim up, and she's like, what are you talking? He was like, I can't hear you, I'm just gonna think that you agree. So it's kind of forming that partnership together,
They
which was
definitely have a good
like,
partnership. Yeah.
yeah,
And they have a good chemistry. Like
Mhm.
even after this, especially, you know, since he doesn't have the hearing aid anymore, so it's like hard for him. You see that they think the same too. And like when they're on the BART scene or subway or whatever, um, they'll pretty much say what they're thinking. And even in the car too, that whole scene. And then she even says like, "Hey, we're communicating."
yeah,
So like they definitely they're growing for sure together.
yeah, like that one part where she was like, you know, this would be really easier if we're like facing the other way. He was like, you know,
Yeah,
face the other way. And like that's the
yeah.
first part. And then something as it kind of shows her intuition in a battle setting, but also like you said on the subway, when even something as simple as like, we should probably walk the dog, like they're very similar, and it's
Yeah.
more becoming apparent, I think, to her because he doesn't realize that they're saying the same thing. But for him, especially when they made it back to the apartment, and there's that whole scene where like he
Woo.
That scene
can't
was
hear his son.
so good.
Oh, before you get to that, we missed the part on the subway where um they're kind of talking. At first, she thinks that he's hearing her because he's responding, but at one point, Hawkeye does say, "You know, you're right."
Oh yeah,
Calling yourself one of the world's best archers. So I
Oh
thought
yeah.
that was really good.
That was cool. Just straight up acknowledgement. Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
But then, yeah, at the apartment, that's when the feels kick in.
Wait, was the scene where they're in the like diner, was that
That's later.
before?
That's later.
That's after he gets his
That's
hearing
after.
aid fixed.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they go back to the apartment. He's kind of like recovering from the fight, and the phone rings, and he's trying to tell his son, like, you know, I'll call you back. Like you could tell he's heartbroken. He can't be there with them, and he can't hear him. But Kate like takes it upon herself and like
Man.
writes quick hand like what he's saying so he could still talk to him.
Yeah, sure. It's hella fast.
Yeah. But I think like it helps like that for him kind of like solidified like kind of the goodness in her, I guess, like acknowledging her as not necessarily worthy, but like, you know, they're in it together, and
Mhm.
recognizing that like she kind of ruined his Christmas, but trying to get them through the rest of whatever, trying to recover the Ronin suit.
That scene was so good, dude. You hella felt it. I mean, I've also like I've seen a lot of his other stuff too, but for some reason it just seemed like his acting chops was hella good here, like hella apparent, which is a lot of the common themes for all the other Disney shows. Like it really highlights a lot of people's acting, you know.
Mhm.
So like this one, you know, I've seen him do like other emotional stuff or like just non-Marvel stuff, but his acting where he's really like he knows that he can't understand his son, but like he's trying to keep it together. He doesn't want to he doesn't want his son to know that like he can't hear him, that like there is a problem with him, but like he's just trying to be a good dad, good person. And that was hella good.
The one that got me the most was at the end when he was like, oh, I'm so glad to hear your voice, and like he obviously
Whew,
like
goddamn, so good.
yeah, from there they do find a place to repair his hearing aid, luckily. And then there's that whole cafe scene when she's talking his ear off, and then he like puts it back in to ask for more coffee, and it's like, did you have that out the whole time?
And then she draws like the OG Hawkeye costume.
Hawkeye costume looks so dope.
Yeah.
With the wings and the H on his head.
So good.
What were the 3 reasons he gave for not wearing a flashy costume? 1, like he's trying
Oh, I
to
don't
not
know.
stand out. 2, his wife would divorce him, and I forgot what the third one was.
Yeah.
Forgot what the third one was.
Shoot, I don't know. Which
Uh,
also just like we mentioned before is like consistent to his character where like he doesn't want to stand out. He's
Mhm.
cool with being in the background. He doesn't want to be seen. He's kind of like the low level but still important, but like doesn't want to be in the forefront.
Yeah, because him and Natasha were both like they lived for years being secret agents, but then for him it was like
Exactly. Yeah.
fading into the background, whereas Natasha was like in the foreground, but like she's such a chameleon that she can like take on different things that they don't really connect it to her.
Mm,
So yeah, he's the unassuming one, kind of like he's like so skilled.
yeah. Good point.
From there, I think is this when they decide to check the mom's penthouse.
I don't remember already. I feel like that was
I
such
know,
a quick,
right? Yeah, it was a very
man.
quick-paced episode though,
It's a
so I
very
think it
fast
might be. Yeah, because it started with the flashbacks and then it went into the meat of it, and it just moved on from there.
Oh, there
So,
was there was one scene where you see the warehouse that they're captured in, basically the tracksuits for them. It was they had to burn, like not burn the place, but the place was revealed, so they had to move locations. And did you see the moving truck was like, bro?
Yeah,
Yeah.
trust it, bro.
Yeah. That was so funny.
But you find out like basically Maya's dad wasn't just a low level tracksuit guy. It was actually like she's leading them now. So he had to have been the leader and she just assumed his role after he passed. And it sounds like the second in command was like, none of these people have learned sign language. He's kind of the one translating.
Oh, yeah.
And he's just questioning everything about like her decisions and like trying to locate this Ronin guy. And he keeps referring to Uncle, which, as we saw in the flashback, is more than likely Kingpin. So
Yeah.
hoping that before the end of this series, we actually get to see him.
I don't know if we will. I think he might show up in her series, but we could get a glimpse
Okay.
Yeah.
of Uncle Seth.
Yeah, maybe like the last episode or like maybe an end credit scene, it'll be like more heavily hinted, but like maybe they won't actually show his face. Maybe just like,
And still.
yeah, like the back of his head or something.
His eggs, a large ass kimono.
What if we don't see him, but we see Vanessa?
That would be-
I'd take
Yeah,
it.
that'd be sick too, because then you know that it's for sure him.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're like basically there's dissent among the ranks where she's like, who's leading this gang? Oh, is it me? And he was like, yeah, of course it's you. And he kind of falls in line. But then it's interesting that like no one else bothered to really learn sign language. So if he leaves or if he like breaks rank, she's kind of like, I don't know. I think that's kind of what it sounded like he was kind of like alluding to. Like he's still falling in line, but like just questioning her.
No, you know what else is sign language, Kuya? Fighting. They'll understand that, Kuya. You get in line or you get smacked up.
And then this is when they decide to break into the mom's penthouse because she's still so focused on like the weird stuff around the fiance. I keep forgetting his name. Jack. Is it Jack?
Mhm.
So she was like, he can really fight and like something's wrong with him and he has to have been involved somehow with Armand. Meanwhile, like Clint is still just focused on like breaking ties with Ronan and making sure no one knows that he was Ronan and that it can't be connected to Kate. So they arrive at the penthouse. They hack into her system. I forget the name of the second level lackey.
Is that the Kazi?
Kazi.
Kazi, yeah. So they look up Kazi because that's the only name that they have.
But it's a client too. So like
That's right.
It could be like the mom. The mom is somehow connected more in there.
Yeah, because originally she was trying to hack into them. Since they're a security system, they can see like criminal records. So they're like, oh, we'll look up Kazi. But yeah, he came up as a client. The whole place is supposed to be deserted, but we see in the last scene, Jack is actually there and threatens Clint with the Ronin sword.
Do you think like is Jack that good at not being detected, or Clint because he's not, I guess, 100% with the ear, like he didn't hear him? Like I feel like Clint would be able to know that someone is in there too.
I don't think Clint's that dope. I don't
Really?
think even with full hearing he would have known. He's not like some kind of ninja, but at the same time he did have an instinct. So maybe it was just an instinct, not necessarily his senses, that made him think someone was still there. What my question is, do you think they're going to have like some kind of history like in the comics where swordsman trained him? because the way they left it,
Could be.
I don't know. It seemed like they were hinting at maybe these guys have a history.
They recognize each other.
Mhm.
Dude, that would have been sick if like the last, like right before it ended, they acknowledged each other. Like it was like Clint, Jack.
Yeah.
Like that'd be sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be dope.
That's true, because while this whole time while Kate is hacking through, Clint is kind of looking at their surroundings, and like part of it is like he's making jokes about how rich they are, and the other part, like you said, he kind of has an instinct of like maybe we're like just checking out if someone's there.
Mhm.
What if he had a thing like Blade where it's just like he drops the sword.
Pops his hand off.
Do you think, let's say that they do know each other, do you think they would have known each other before like maybe Clint even got associated with Shield and whatnot? Or do you think it was that gap, the 5-year gap where he became Ronin?
That's a good question. It could go either way because out of nowhere you just see like Hawkeye beating ass with swords. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
it could have been in his arsenal all along, or he could have learned it during that gap. Yeah, that's a pretty
Yeah.
good question.
I
don't
want
know.
to say story-wise, it would make more sense if it's within that 5-year gap, because like,
Same.
like you said, out of nowhere,
Mhm.
he like drops the bows and has a sword. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
because it's one thing to be able to like, because obviously when him and Natasha during Civil War were going hand to hand, like they're both very skilled fighters, but that's not his instinct. Like he did make his bow into like a bow staff, like where it's
Mhm.
just a long piece, but not, you've never seen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
When he was fighting Black Panther.
yeah, and a Black Widow, right?
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. I think eventually I don't know if they'll like, if Echo will figure out that Kingpin, say it is Kingpin. I don't know if Echo in this show will figure out that he was behind the whole thing. So like I think she might find that out like at the very end of this show, but more detailed in her own show. But like that's when I think she will learn with Hawkeye or learn from Hawkeye. And then Hawkeye's also going to learn how to like do signing from her, because
That'd be cool.
pretty much she's gonna, it already kind of seems like he's gonna go down the path of being just fully deaf.
I think that this pathway is still like, this series is at least going to resolve like her finding out that maybe he wasn't the Ronin that killed her dad. Like at least resolve that so that she is starting to go like more on the good side instead of like just continuing with the mafia.
Mm. Yeah, because I don't know if she would have her own show where she's still
Bad guy.
like a bad guy.
Yeah.
I think her own show is going to be exploring her relationship with Kingpin and Daredevil, hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I like it. It's going by fast.
Good ass
Yes.
episode. Yeah, we're
It's
already
pretty-
halfway through, right?
More than, well, yeah, next
Yeah.
episode's going to be 4th.
Mm.
Yep.
How do you guys like the pacing between this and the other shows?
I'm gonna have to wait and see because Falcon and Winter Soldier kind of fizzled out at the end, but they did
True.
have what, 9 episodes or
They
8
did.
episodes. This
I
one
feel
only
like-
has 6, so it's like I think they can keep the momentum going and not have much filler, especially since they have like a pretty distinct storyline going.
That's what I was gonna say. I feel like
Mm.
Falcon and Winter Soldier had a lot of content to cover because it said
A lot of subplots,
yeah, there's a lot of subplots, so they had to resolve like
a
the
lot
whole
of characters,
thing with,
and
yeah, like US agent and all that stuff. But this one is just like making sure the Ronin suit is contained and making sure it can't be linked to anyone that didn't actually wear it.
Mm.
Do you think that Echo will be in the Ronin suit by the end of the series or at some point in her own?
I think Echo will return.
I never thought about that.
Do you think she'll actually wear the Ronin suit or just be in the Echo suit?
I don't know because it still
never thought
carries
about
with
that.
it like
That's
a
good.
reputation.
Yeah.
Unless she starts, unless she becomes like a Punisher type vigilante and wants that, maybe she does.
That's true.
After she learned, like maybe she learns that Kingpin set it up, so she's just like, all right, I'm gonna kill all organized crime, and then she dons the Ronin outfit so that they are drawn to her also.
Mm.
That'd
I
be
don't
I
know.
mean, it'd be cool if I could see her taking over the Ronin costume, but then having, the handprint. So like it would be kind of both.
Yeah, that would be cool. All right, so that's gonna wrap it up for this episode of Maganda. I almost said Hawkeye. Of this episode of Maganda Forever podcast. We'll be covering the next episode of Hawkeye next week. But thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Matt.
I'm Vince.
And Monica.
See you later, bros.
I'm not Wakandan, but my bionic arm enhanced. Just say the words, I'm activated like a Nazi trance. Catch vibranium to your cranium, wanna glance. Full body cast from a cyclops optic blast. I doubt your crew's prepared for this hit. Catch a glimpse of who I'm with, have you scared of the clip? No heart-shaped herbs or any terrigen myths. I'm taking out your ankles on some anti-Garian shit.